If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, sirree. Robberty, bobbity, bobbity, bobbity. Yes, we actually have a shirt like this in our merch store. So if you want to be featured in our videos, get one of these shirts and then send a picture and then we'll do it.
Pretty sure you're wrong, Vin. I don't think that design is still there.
What? The Till We Die? You got rid of the Till We Die?
Is there, but like that exact one is not there.
Why? What happened?
Well, remember there was printing issues and all that, and they make it impossible. It doesn't matter. I'm not sure if it's there. Check it out. It might still be there.
Right. Well.
If not, maybe I'll add it
Check
tomorrow.
it out. If you can have a shirt like this, I can't tell you you'll look as good as me with the shirt. Okay, but it'll be there.
Okay. So here we have Skid Row. Quicksand Jesus is next for the big homie DJ Nick, who is our DJ tonight.
And the big homie DJ Lisa. Gang, gang, gang.
Shout out to you in case you see this review.
How you doing? Turgid? Was it Pro Shoe? Gang, gang, gang. We got to come up with a gang sign for you. Corny ass family. All right, here we go. Here we are. Quicksand, you want to do it? Come on with the heat.
She caught the melting sky. It burned, but still the winter passes by and by. To the other side.
those hair bands. I think this qualifies as a hair band, right?
I would have. For some reason, I was thinking more grunge. I don't know why. Maybe because like
Skid Row?
Because they don't look like hair band, right? Or from
No,
what I
they
was seeing over
definitely
there.
look like a hair band. What
Really?
do you mean?
I thought they looked.
They absolutely look like a hair band, dear listener.
I need to see this for myself.
Skid Row? They're absolutely a hair band.
No. Look at their hair. It's more the grungy thing.
Skid Row?
Yeah.
All right.
That doesn't look like the hairspray and all. That looks more like.
That doesn't look like a. All right.
Okay,
Type.
I can totally see.
Type 22 if you think Skid Row's a hair band. Actually,
I'm gonna put a poll.
we can
up.
solve this problem. Just text Lisa right now. Text her. Say, hey, are you up? Ask her if she's up.
Okay. There you are.
Ask her if she's up.
It's 11:30.
It's a Friday, for God's sake.
Yeah, I
mean.
know, but we'll see.
All right. So let me post what Nick put something down on the thing. I'm a jig.
Okay, I can totally see why girls that listen to this band in high school had a big crush on them. That makes sense. Now I'm replaying
What do
when
you
she
mean?
told me how she. I'm replaying her eyes. I'm like, she absolutely had a crush on
Oh,
this
she had a
band.
crush on
Yep.
Sebastian Bach. Don't worry about it, Chris. You and Sebastian Bach look very, very similar.
Well, she's older now. She has a crush on you. Anyway, yeah, this was a very deep song.
Yeah, it was real deep. Real deep.
Look, someone's asking if I'm pregnant.
Who?
That's what the phone call was about.
Oh my God. Ridiculous. Big
Anyway.
hair, spandex, and eyeliner rock. This is Johnny. Johnny's telling us that they were a hair band. All right.
Okay, so this song, it seems like it's a deep and thoughtful song, and almost like contending with religion in a sense, and
Yeah. And the problem of evil. Who's behind the rain? He says here, Nick says,
so interesting.
Bass player's mother had a ceramic Jesus, and the way it was positioned made it look like it was sinking. Hence the term quicksand Jesus.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Okay.
It says the way that it was positioned made it look like it was sinking in quicksand. Hence the song title,
Okay.
Quicksand Jesus.
She caught the melting sky. It burned, but still the winter passes by and by to the other side. A slow parade of wind that blows through trees that wilted with the seasons. Children, we are saved by the words of bastards. Are we saved by the words of bastard saints? Do we live in fear or faith? Tell me now who's behind the rain.
I mean, it's a good
Okay,
line.
So so you took that as the problem of evil behind the rain?
Yeah, tell me now who's behind the rain. I took to be who's behind bad things happening in my life type of thing. Because he talks about a slow parade of wind blowing through the trees, the snow. So he's using the weather to indicate something, and it looks like the weather's generally not good here.
Okay.
Looks to me. But I mean, just
I really like the line, are we saved by the words of bastard saints?
to the other side, a slow parade of wind that blows through the trees that wilted the season's children. That is just so beautiful. That's
I
such
know.
a brilliant. But I think, again, that's where the weather is. It looks like it's changing from spring to fall almost. So the slow parade of wind that wilts the season's children, which I'm assuming would be the flowers or whatever, would be the children of spring.
Oh, my word. That's so not what I got from it. I got from that line, wilted the season's children. Like, literally, it was people that they were talking about. And the seasons, not necessarily the literal seasons, but the seasons of life, wilt the children. And, like...
Well, obviously that could also be it, right? But I just took and it probably is what it is. Like that's why I said like I think that the seasonal stuff is metaphorical. The wind, the rain, all that is metaphorical for some bad eventuality. So in the first verse, it looks to me like the wind or whatever is a harbinger of fall, and it's wilting the flowers, the season's children, yada, yada, yada. And then that's why it says, do we live in fear or faith? Tell me now who's behind the rain. That's why I interpreted the rain as a negative situation, etc., etc. Go ahead.
A maze of tangled grace, the symptoms of for real are crumbling from embrace, but still we chase the shadows of belief.
The symptoms of for real?
Yeah.
That's such a strange lyric.
I know. Well, it says the symptoms of question mark, for real question mark.
Did we have was this a lyric video?
Yes.
I just want to see if that's what he actually said.
A maze of tangled grace. The symptoms of for real are crumbling from embrace.
Symptoms of for real are crumbling from embrace. Man, this guy.
What do you think that means?
I think how he really feels, or how she really feels, the symptoms of that are crumbling from the embrace. You know, you hug somebody, but they don't really want to hug you.
Yeah.
Or you're doing whatever little ritual people do when they're close to each other, but the reality is that they're not really feeling you like that. That's how I interpret it.
A maze of tangled grace.
Yeah.
So are they talking about like the hug, like you just said, or are they using that analogy to explain grace?
I don't think
it's crumbling.
No, the grace there is tangled. I just think in the mess of humanity, the messes that human beings make out of their lives get intertwined with grace because as a necessity, because if we don't, then we're all screwed. But the symptoms of for real are crumbling from embrace. So it would be, there's a lot of screw ups, and God can be merciful to you, but just because God is gracious to you doesn't mean that the person that you hurt is going to be. So they may not want you to touch him. You know what I'm saying? They don't want you to touch them. They don't want you to be around them. And it's a symptom of that in the embrace that the person can't hide. But still we chase the shadows of belief. Or it could be that the real world is, or what he's looking at as the real world is something that is like taking his faith away from him.
Yeah.
Right?
That's more how I was.
So if you look at the next line, but still we chase the shadows of belief. So it's like you've crossed this threshold where you no longer believe, or you're in a crisis of faith, but you can't admit that you're in a crisis of faith because then people will be like, because your crisis of faith actually instigates their crisis of faith. So you have to chase the shadow of what you once had instead of being real about where you're at with it.
Yeah.
And new religion clouds our visions of the roots of our souls. Are we ashamed of our own fate or play the fool for our own sake? Tell me who's behind the rain. So I think there what he's saying is, okay, I'm just going to give up on Christianity and find some new religion, some new kind of spirituality type of situation. Because he says right there.
But it says it clouds our visions.
Yeah, he talks about the shadows of belief, and new religion clouds our vision of the roots of our souls. I'm not saying that. So
he's saying it wasn't a positive thing.
Yeah, I just think he's lost. I think when you don't have a very good theology of suffering, you know, when you go to Sunday school all the time, and it's like, like there's enough theology of suffering in all the Bible stories, but you know, it's like, oh, Noah took all the animals 2 by 2, and they had the little fuzzy little thing that you put on the board, and Noah's smiling at the animals. It's like, I don't think he was smiling. Like, he's looking at the immediate destruction of everybody around him.
Yeah.
Like all of his. And the thing that's funny about, like, particularly the Noah story is, like, they always make it seem like Noah had no friends.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just him and his family.
Right.
They were in a little cult. He built the ship. Everybody hated him. Everybody made fun
was
of
mocking him and
like,
stuff.
The text
And so when
doesn't
they were
say
all
that.
Drowning,
It doesn't say that.
Yeah,
so
no,
it's like,
it's true. That's...
It must have been a really terrible situation to be in, no matter if you think it was a local flood. You know, a lot of people think it was just a local flood or whether it's a global flood. To me, it's immaterial because his whole world would have been over.
Yeah.
Like, if my city got nuked and we were the only survivors in our little city, yeah, I would know, especially now because the internet, like, the whole world isn't destroyed. But let's say it was like 50 years ago and we got nuked.
Yeah.
Like, what would be the material difference between saying the world is over and our city is over? Like, there would really be none. My point is like, if you don't prepare, specifically from a Christian standpoint, if you don't prepare people for suffering and for a real deep theology of suffering, then they're going to hit 20, 25, or 18, 19. I mean, it's a little bit faster now because of the internet.
Yeah.
And they're not going to know how to deal.
Well, yeah, 100%. Well, it's interesting. We were talking to, a friend of ours from the channel the other night, and he had said that, in the past, like, a lot of times people will say to their kids, I'm going to protect you from all suffering, and I'm going to make life basically as perfect for you as I can. And he basically said, like, he knew that's not possible. And so instead he was promising his child that he was going to help him navigate through those things.
Yeah.
And that was like, I was like, wow, like, I've thought before that was the promise that I made to Selah. I'm going to protect you from everything, blah, 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 blah. And obviously you can't do that. And so, like, it really sucks to make a promise to your newborn baby that you can never keep. And you can't protect them from everything. You can't protect them from the thing, because they're just like we were when we were kids. They're gonna willingly walk into stuff because they believe that they're better, that they've got a clearer mind on it, that you don't know anything because they know everything. They're gonna make decisions that you would not wish for them, out of their arrogance and out of their their naivete, But at the same time, like, teaching them how to navigate that. And I think that you're right. I think that when you don't have a way, like a place to put suffering, then yeah, you land with a situation where you are suffering, and now you don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of times they told us, if anything bad happens to you, it's because you're in sin.
like Jesus. Right? Because, like, a whole bunch of bad shit happened to him. It wasn't because he was in sin.
Right.
But, like, I think that I've never really... I was in this church one time, and, one of the guys was very big on the resurrection. He's a big resurrection guy. He was like, people talk about the cross too much. People talk about the cross too much. We got to talk about the resurrection. I understood where he was coming from, and he was really excited and all the rest. He had just discovered NT Wright. I deprogrammed him because, whatever. But, like... I get it, but he's a guy who hadn't been through a lot of shit. Mm-hmm. If you grew up in the suburbs of Maine your entire... I'm not saying he had like a horrible, you know what I'm saying, but but like, I've never really ever gotten over the whole cross crucifixion thing with Jesus. It's such a fascinating... There was one quote from Chesterton. I actually put it in there on Instagram for Good Friday. It was just like the most amazing quote of all time. And this is Chesterton, you know what I'm saying? I mean, the way that he writes. If Chesterton had like a YouTube channel, you would probably love him as much as Jordan Peterson.
Oh, really?
But Chesterton says that a good man may have his back to the wall is no more than we knew already, but that God could have his back to the wall is a boast for all insurgents everywhere. Christianity is the only religion on earth that has felt that omnipotence made God incomplete. Christianity alone felt that God, to be holy God, must have been a rebel as well as a king. Alone of all creeds, Christianity has added courage to the virtues of the Creator. For the only courage worth calling courage must necessarily mean that the soul passes a breaking point and does not break. In this indeed I approach a matter more dark and more awful than it is easy to discuss, and I apologize in advance if any of my phrases fall wrong or seem irreverent touching a matter which the greatest saints and thinkers have justly feared to approach. But in the terrific tale of the Passion there is a distinct emotional suggestion that the author of all things, in some unthinkable way, went not only through agony but through doubt, as it is written, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. No, but watch this. But the Lord thy God may tempt himself. And it seems as if this is what happened in Gethsemane. In a garden, Satan tempted man. In a garden, God tempted God. He passed in some superhuman manner through our human horror of pessimism. When the world shook and the sun was wiped out of heaven, it was not at the crucifixion, but at the cry from the cross. The cry which confessed that God was forsaken by God. And now let the revolutionists choose a creed from all the creeds and a God from all the gods of the world, carefully weighing all the gods of inevitable recurrence and of unalterable power. They will not find another God who has himself been in revolt. Nay, the matter grows too difficult for human speech. But let the atheists themselves choose a God. They will find only one divinity who ever uttered their isolation, only one religion in which God seemed for an instant to be an atheist. He said, why have you forsaken me, or whatever.
Wow.
So Chesterton is crazy, but
Such an interesting thought that God tempted God.
but it just, you're saying that God came and suffered and was crucified, and you're saying God, like all my Muslim friends are like, you're saying God did that, Allah did that to
How old is that? That's old,
Chesterton?
right?
Oh yeah.
The level of reverence where he said, like, basically, I'm treading very lightly where other people have dared to. They don't dare to tread here because it's. Are we crossing too many lines? Yeah.
But Chesterton is such a gangster. He's like, let the atheists select a God. Like that. It just. But that whole situation with Jesus on the cross, like, ended so much of the conversation for me about the problem of evil, and the whole quicksand thing. And I don't think that he's being irreverent here. He's saying, I need you, quicksand Jesus, whatever.
Oh yeah, I don't think so either.
It's not that Jesus was quicksand, but it's just that
he said, quicksand Jesus, I'm so far away without you.
Right. He's the one that's sinking, and I would be, man, like it if it wasn't for him, like, I was just having that conversation with him a couple days ago. Like, yo, I would be like completely done if it wasn't the one for him. So, but yeah, that whole concept of a God who will come down and suffer with you as one of us is, like, there are other situations in which the gods end up suffering, you gave them fire, here's your punishment, yada yada yada. But like, no God came down specifically to suffer.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
he came down specifically to suffer, to be treated unfairly. Unbelievable. It wasn't like incidental to something he was doing. He specifically came
for that
to
purpose.
Endure the cross.
Yeah.
And all the things that came before and after. So, like, unbelievable. It's a really, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the song.
I like the ending too, where so he says, quicksand Jesus, I'm so far away without you, and then he says, I need you, I believe you, I'm so far away. And it kind of reminds me, there was like this conversation where Jesus asks this guy, like, do you believe? And the guy says, I believe, but help my unbelief.
Yeah.
And I really like that because, and then Jesus went ahead and healed the situation that was going on. But I like it because the guy didn't have perfect faith. He really didn't have enough, but he was like, well, I believe. And you could hear in this, he says, I believe you. But at the same time, he's saying, I'm so far away and I need you. So he's recognizing he's insufficient, or he can't reach far enough, but there is enough of a belief there. And so it's almost like a prayer, like, hey, can you make up the difference? Because I can't go that far with you. I need you to come back this way.
Yep.
So, and I think that that's probably why he uses the phrase quicksand Jesus, is that he feels like a lot of times we feel that God is the one that's pulling away from us and he's sinking away from us, when that's not the case. He doesn't move from us. We can kind of like, you know, but I don't even know if we can distance ourselves or if he is always there, but relationally, I'm not really sure. But I know that, you know, do you believe that Jesus pulls himself away from people? This is an interesting question because your
Pulls
face
himself
looks like,
away from people?
well, see this quicksand Jesus concept, like where Jesus is like going away, falling away from him.
I think Jesus withdraws our sense of his presence so that we'll pursue him more.
Yeah. But as far as if he's actually...
No, he's never been that way with me though. I'm only speaking from my experience.
But I'm never far from you?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the
It's
rest of that
Deuteronomy.
verse?
Huh?
What's the rest of that verse?
Well, there's one in Deuteronomy. It says, "What God is do the nations have that is so close to them as our God is whenever we call on him." Mm-hmm. So whenever he gets called on, he's close, whether or not you have the qualia or the experience of his closeness. Like you know what I'm saying? You're not gonna have it. Mm-hmm. Where'd you get the song?
Oh,
It's a 10 for May. Jesus out here playing hard to get. True.
I think I'll give this one a 10 as well. I liked what it sounded like, but then on top of that, the lyrics were important. So
Amy.
So 10.
Unsatisfactory. I messaged you over 2 hours ago and told you we were going live. How dare you just now show up? It's a 10 for me.
And 10 for me as well.
There you are, dear listener. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.